Goldberg vs The Undertaker is possibly the most hated WWE match of all time, and you might be wondering why. Well, quite simple. They almost died. Seems like an absolute dream match. Goldberg is an absolute machine who runs through all of his opponents without breaking a sweat. The Undertaker is possibly the greatest wrestler of all time. He's simply timeless. What's not to like? Well, it happened at least 10 years too late. At that point, Goldberg was very limited in the ring. I would say for the most part, people were excited when he returned to the WWE. He said he's back because he wanted his son to see him wrestle. Well, about that. How many times the kid needs to see it? Fans started thinking, maybe Goldberg overstayed his welcome. He started winning championships he had no business taking. And by the time we got Goldberg vs The Undertaker, his son was no longer a child. At that point, dude probably couldn't care less about wrestling. By that point, he was trying to get laid. But Goldberg put the foot down and said, "You're gonna watch me wrestle." "Dad, I don't care about wrestling anymore."
"Sit back and watch me wrestle."
"But I know it's fake."
"Ah, I'm your hero."
"I've seen it already, Dad. You don't have to do this anymore."
I need the money.
And The Undertaker was not the same Undertaker we grew up watching. Like most wrestlers, The Undertaker was addicted to pro wrestling. This is probably all he wanted to do in his life, and he knew that lately, his performances didn't hit the same. So he was trying to regain his confidence. The Undertaker was chasing that one more good match. So I'm not sure why he trusted Goldberg on this one. And look, both men are absolute legends. And honestly, when this match got announced, I didn't mind it, but I was worried. I don't mind two legends stepping into that ring, doing their signature moves, and leave. I don't expect it to be a 5-star classic. At that point, it's just an attraction match. So I was, for the most part, very excited. Goldberg was most likely motivated by money, and The Undertaker was just hyped to perform again. And didn't mind the money. I mean, it was a Saudi show. We all know after that show, The Undertaker could rest in money. There's no way this was the worst wrestling match ever. Impossible. There are probably thousands of worse wrestling matches, but I'm talking about big pay-per-view matches. Big matches that happened in a stadium in the main event. Definitely one of the worst big wrestling matches in recent memory, because it almost ended in a tragedy. And let's talk about the spectacular build that this match gave us. It was quite simple. Goldberg called out The Undertaker and promised he's going to get Goldberg that we've seen for the past 20 years. Spoiler alert. He lied. The whole thing just played with the fact that this is a dream match. And in this situation, I feel like that was truly enough. So I decided to open the WWE network, we still have that in Europe, and put on one of the most controversial matches in WWE. I didn't bring popcorn. You see, for this kind of match, I figured I'll just snore a bunch of Coca-Cola was just enough. I remember when we got the entrances, I was really hyped about the match. But once The Undertaker started making his entrance, well, I fell asleep. And by the time I woke up, he was still making his entrance. I felt really good though. I normally don't take such long naps. The match kicks off with a face-off between two icons. We see The Undertaker with a cheap shot. Goldberg no-sells it and hits The Undertaker with a spear. This looked like a typical Goldberg match. Then Goldberg goes for another one.
"Look, Age, spear!"
And he hits The Undertaker with another spear. Goldberg goes for the cover, but The Undertaker kicks out. Does his signature sit up? Something I can do because I have a big belly. So far so good. The match is going fine. No botches so far. So this was weird. The Undertaker goes for a chokeslam, and for whatever reason they were like, let's wrestle. Let's try to show these people that finishers is not everything we can do. I remember this being really odd. So Goldberg locks The Undertaker in a submission, but The Undertaker gets to the ropes. And this is where they shit the bed. So Goldberg Irish whips The Undertaker into the turnbuckle. He goes for a spear, The Undertaker dodges, and Goldberg hits the ring post. That's when Goldberg got concussed, and you could tell something is wrong right here. Whatever the case may be, the match continues, show must go on. The Undertaker goes old school and connects. So during this match we got two chokeslams. What surprised me is that the first chokeslam actually looked relatively good, so maybe it was the tombstone piler driver that just made things worse. So The Undertaker lifts Goldberg, everything is looking fine until yikes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to inform you, wrestling is scripted. This is not how you take a tombstone piler driver. Just listen to the impact.
Ouch.
I remember this was really tough to watch, but Goldberg kicks out, which in my opinion was a big mistake, because if that was the ending, it would have been, well, I would say an acceptable match. But of course, the match continues. It's pretty slow. Both men are fatigued. They did something pretty cool right here. Pretty unexpected from these two wrestlers, I would say. But looking back at it now, the match didn't need to continue. The botches that we got so far were horrible, career possibly life-threatening, I understand, but the match itself was just fine. Pretty much what you would expect from these guys, just a bunch of finishers. But yes, the match continues. We see a clothesline in the corner, snake eyes to Goldberg's concussed head. I assumed the Undertaker was going for the big boot, but Goldberg meets him with a spear instead. And here's why the match shouldn't have continued. He almost lifts the Undertaker up. By this point you can tell it's not gonna go well. And of course, it didn't. Goldberg, instead of hitting his finisher move, hit the Undertaker with a brainbuster. And we're talking about the Undertaker right here. A 300-pound monster. This is not a jackhammer. So now both men are in a very bad shape. You can tell that something's not right, and you're worried that one bad landing can get these guys paralyzed. This is the second time I've seen this match, and it's still painful. The whole thing was just sad. Goldberg tries to lift the Undertaker. The Undertaker goes for a reversal into a tombstone piler driver, but they both fell. This was very, very uncomfortable to watch. Really, really sad, and you know, you kind of feel bad for these guys. The Undertaker is frustrated, and he does what was probably right in that situation. He goes for the chokeslam, and we got possibly the worst chokeslam in WWE history. The Undertaker goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. The match is over. The Undertaker is not happy with the result, and the crowd cheer. I believe for the most part, people didn't really understand the magnitude of what happened right here. They didn't understand that both men could have ended being paralyzed during this match, which is understandable. You know, you're watching two pros, you don't even think about that possibility. I think for the most part, fans left happy. They just saw The Undertaker and Goldberg live, but The Undertaker was not happy with the match. What was supposed to be a clash between two icons ended up being one of the biggest wrestling mistakes. And I'm not here to talk shit about these guys. I respect what they do for the fans, obviously, but both men were past their prime years and years ago. Some would say Goldberg was never in his prime. Goldberg was always limited in the ring, and now he's in his 50s wrestling The Undertaker, who can also barely wrestle anymore. I do have a guilty pleasure for these kind of things, right? I love these, not to be mean, but I love watching washed up wrestlers fighting. Even if it's just a slow match, I love the nostalgia. I love the attraction that these matches give you, the big match feel. I think Triple H versus Sting is just what I'm talking about right here. The difference is, Sting versus Triple H absolutely delivered. This match was simply sad. I know money was a big motivator. That's the thing with these big pay-per-views. They always bring back legends, but you can't help but feel sad for both competitors. At the end of the day, they probably trained really hard and expected a good match. It's not like The Undertaker and Goldberg didn't care about the way the match ended. You know, I could talk about this match all I want, but The Undertaker's face after the match is the best review of the match you could probably do. Fair to say, he wasn't happy. There's a certain charm watching two old veterans, absolute wrestling legends, stepping back into that ring for the fans. Sometimes it's just too late. You might be wondering what happened next year in WWE Super ShowDown. Well, my brother actually made a video about it. Check it out. I'll leave it at the end of the video. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. The Great One. Peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.